All right, so I am making this video to basically see how does the Xano MCP tool fare if I were to just start completely from scratch. So let's just give it a shot. I'm going to call this workspace Xano demo, and it's going to be connected to, let's say, traditional code, and we'll make it React. That's fine. All right. So we're starting off completely from nothing. So we do have three authentication endpoints, but that seems like that's about it. So we'll keep these, let's say, because it comes with it. And let's go over to where I have Claude Code open, and I'm going to just open up a new window actually. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a new folder here, and let's just open up Claude Code. I'm just in Visual Studio. Let's also update this, and we'll just restart the extensions. All right. So right now I don't have the Snappy MCP tool installed here. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. So I'm going to come over here to the dashboard, a new dashboard actually, and just copy that. And I'm going to put that into my terminal here, and that'll just install just like that. So now when I close this and reopen it, you'll see that now I have that installed just like that. And it's already connected. But if it wasn't connected, you could just enter just like that and then click on reauthenticate. We're connected. And I'm just going to make a new file here. And what I'm going to call it is just project description MD. So that's just a markdown document. And what I'm going to do is actually just write out what I want this application to be. So this is something that I might spend a few minutes on, or probably in this case, it'll be just a few minutes. But I'm just going to go ahead and write this out. Something that I want the agent to accomplish in this workspace. All right, so I have a prompt put together here, and you can see that basically it says that we're going to build a SaaS application in Xano. I'm saying which workspace it is, and I'm letting it know, like we saw, that there are three endpoints already configured. And now we're planning out the database schema. And so we have our tables here that we're looking for the agent to create. This is what we already have. And now we're describing the endpoints that we want. So let's just scroll down just so we can see what it all looks like. And you can see the summary, 15 API endpoints is what we're aiming for. So what I'm going to do is just create a new folder actually. I'm just going to call it quad. And in there, I'm going to put another folder called commands. And then I'm going to move this into the commands folder. And so that I can do this, I'm just going to close this actually. And I'm going to type out Xano SaaS demo spec. So you can see I can just from there have it actually use the entire prompt. So just something interesting. All right, and we'll see how this does. Okay, so I'm actually going to pause it here because I've noticed that it is actually not launching a subagent the way that I wanted it to. So I'm going to just tell it something that we can put into the prompt here again. And let's just maybe put it at the bottom, or perhaps we'll just do it at the top. I'm going to put in execute. Okay, so let me just close this, reopen it, and Let's try that again. And you can see it already knows what it should actually do. So the first thing that it's doing is actually what it should do, which is look through the documentation. Okay, so now it found the instance. So the more information you give it, the more it can do this process more smoothly. So you'll see the way I tried to design this was so that it has all the tools that it needs. And it also has the guidance built into the tools to keep it on track. So now it's working on those new tables. I'm just going to hop over quickly to the Xano side so you can see that it did add all those fields. Now it's creating table reference fields. So it has a special tool for that. Oh, so it's seeing that now it already had it created at field by default. So if we come over to the database now, we'll be able to see that we have this table created, and this table is in the middle of being expanded right now. Okay, so now it's going to work on creating APIs. All right, so you can see that it is deploying with the auto fixes, and of course it needs a token if it's an authorized endpoint. And now is where we'll start to get feedback through the automatic link checking. And with the automatic fixing, allows it to succeed fast. And you'll see that it's doing curl tests in between. All right, so this is a bit risky, but I'll give it a shot. So I was able to get a token and create a user. And so now it can really test, which is the whole point, that it's going through this flow and verifying that things are working. And so now it's testing some endpoints. So you can see that a lot of the time there will be auto fixes, and what that is really what it implies is, which is that the AI client and AI agents in general, they're unpredictable. And you can see this is why we have it do testing so that mistakes don't compound. It's able to catch and then update and not continue on the wrong assumption that things are just fine, or just continue and then lose track of where the issue actually originated from. And like I was saying, what the auto fixing is handling is really just the nature of the AI in general, in that what it's going to input is it's not it's not going to be for certain. It could be a range of options, and so we're trying to help it along by being forgiving in the sense of auto fixing mistakes, but also educating. So in these responses, we try to have them be descriptive and point towards what the right solution is. And so you can see that as we refine it, it ends up getting to the point where it deploys and gets to that success sooner and sooner. So now it was able to test it, and this is a real response showing that it was created successfully. And now it's getting the information about the organization, testing that endpoint. Let's check out organizations, and you'll see that this is what's being built, actually. And it's leveraging Xano to its strength. So in the sense that it's using these filters in the conditions, we're actually having it build, and these little details end up making sense as well. Like the fact that there's all kinds of ways that an AI will represent the term auth, and none of them will be just a plain term ID. It'll always try auth.user or just auth or anything else. So we're doing a lot of fixing to keep things on track and ideal in the output. You can see here is where it's creating these endpoints for getting the user preferences, getting the setting. And again, if we look at how it's creating these variables, it's coming out looking good. on Xano. It's not coming out looking like a disaster, which is what AI would prefer, left to its own devices. And you might remember we tested this one. If we see the history, we can actually see, because these are curl requests, so we can actually see that the payloads were succeeding. And so we can see the history of the testing like that. And this is what gives us trust. This is what builds trust or faith as we're reviewing the work and the progress, to see things actually be tested. And so that's what I've been getting this tool to do in general, which is now go about it a certain way, but using the tools that it has at hand in order to succeed at this more ambitious goal, which is to create something that is meaningful and that is complex, but also predictable in a certain way, and that we know that it's going to come out in a certain style. It's not going to create a bottleneck for us. You can see here it's able to use conditionals. And so it's deploying this again with auto fixes. And so you can imagine before auto fixes, and auto fixes really, they're just based on testing and seeing all different possibilities, but there are quite a number of possibilities. And this is a continuous process of seeing what AI will try to do in different situations, and especially as you move out to the different parts of functionality that you're looking to test and see as you enter into other syntax and other functions, there's new ways for the AI to express it. So it just naturally expands what you have to consider and adjust the logic for. So now it's creating a checkout session. And actually, by payments API. So some of this is going to be limited actually by its own knowledge. The AI might not know how to necessarily build a proper Stripe system, but we're going to actually try to work on that. So now it's saying that this was delivered. So you can see that it actually is able to really build out quite a bit, and it builds out in a very reliable way when it comes to getting information, let's say, about organization. I can come into here. This is authenticated, so I'm going to put my token, and you can see that it actually works. So this is me looking at it. And actually, this is what I want to show as well. This is it building using the SDK. The more that we gave it only just this description, right? The more preparation and the more iteration that you do, then obviously the better results that you can get. And this is something that you can see that even with little planning, this gets you quite a bit of results because it's able to succeed and not spin its wheels. So it's able to build out endpoints that actually end up working. But this can only get better as you actually invest time and energy into your preparation for it. There are other tools in here as well that make life easier. So I can say, use your CRUD system tool to create a CRUD group. So what we just saw was the AI leveraging the Snappy Xano tool, which allows it to, or enables it, I should say, to build custom logic, which is obviously very powerful. And that's what we just saw. What we're going to see here is leveraging more of a template system. So it's creating a CRUD system. So that was in one action. If I come back over here, I can see that it created these just by making that one tool action. And actually what it created is something that is related in using the tables in the system. It makes sense. And if I look at list records, for example, you can see that this is actually, even though deployed very quickly, it's quite sophisticated. So here it's creating the Stripe checkout system. And let me come back. And so here for Stripe checkout system and see, so this is again a system that has been designed. You could see that it is referencing the actual tables that are in the system. And it's designed in a way to make a request to Stripe, right? So because I know how to actually build this out, I've built out the logic in the tool so that it would essentially treat it as a template that swaps in whatever is actually in the database. So this way it can actually make these more sophisticated endpoints, and also it can learn from them too. That's it. I just want to quickly show this, and hopefully this shows, because we started off from something completely clear in the Snappy demo workspace, and now we have authentication, we have an organizations API showing multi-tenancy to create different organizations, and we have a payments API, which actually we have a checkout system here. We have settings for updating and getting user preferences and settings. And we have a projects API for creating new projects. And over here, we also have API requests. It's actually built out here as well. This was built out in real time by the sub agent using the custom SDK. So you can see that this is quite a sophisticated endpoint that I put together, and it's able to build this out and take us quite a bit of the way. And we're able to follow this logic because it's built in a way that when I look at this, I can see that it's making sense and that it's using Xano to its strength, and it's creating these of variables and so on in a way that we can look at it and quickly verify it and quickly make sure that everything makes sense. But we don't have to get stuck on a whole bunch of making changes and fixes everywhere, because all the little details are already there and they're what we expect them to be. Hopefully this was informative, and if you would like to use this yourself, you can just check out xano.snappy.ai, and there it is. Thank you.